Hey guys, my name is Massimio, and today I was lucky enough to get an early look at Far Cry 6, and I think the best way of describing this game, at least so far, is that it is absolutely crazy. Now, before we get into further details, I did need to let you know really quickly that this video is sponsored by Ubisoft. They wanted me to let you know that everything that you'll be seeing in today's video is a work in progress. The game is still in development, but the game will be launching on October 7th. It will also feature co-op, so if you'd like to play with a friend, that is a possibility, and a wide array of customization. We're gonna get into that further later on because I think it's a highlight of what makes Far Cry 6 interesting. And so if you would like to learn more, there will be a link down below in the description. Now, with that out of the way, what exactly is Far Cry 6? Well, at a basic level, you begin the game playing as Danny, who is just simply trying to escape the city. But as things normally happen in this Far Cry universe, things go poorly and you get wrapped up with a bunch of freedom fighters who are trying to stop the main antagonist, Anton Castillo. Now, this is where things start to get a little ridiculous. The Far Cry franchise has always been known for being absurd, but I feel like Far Cry 6 takes it to a whole other level, and not necessarily in a bad way. It feels like Ubisoft recognizes that they're making a video game. Video games are supposed to be fun, and they really lean into that. A really good example of this is the rocket launcher backpack. Yes, the rocket launcher backpack. You can use this to take out helicopters, tanks, vehicles, anything in front of you isn't going to last very long. Throughout your time running around on this gigantic island, you are going to be unlocking revolver weapons like this backpack that are pretty ridiculous, and they're meant to be fun. If you want to use the more standard weapons that you would find in every other traditional FPS game, they're still there, like snipers, LMGs, and SMGs. If you want to use that, that is available. But if you want to lean more into the absurdity of the Far Cry franchise, there are going to be these really unique revolver weapons like flamethrowers, a revolver alongside a shield to protect you, a nail gun, and this backpack. This is one thing that I was pretty impressed by when I played Far Cry 6, is that the customization is through the roof. Not only because of the revolver weapons, but you have a ton of options available. I was scrolling through just the different lists and variety of weapons, and it's staggering. If you have a particular playstyle, I'm sure you're going to be able to find it in Far Cry 6. But it even goes deeper. You can change the attachments on every single one of the weapons. If you want to use a sniper with a particular optic, go for it. If you want to have that sniper be really good at taking out armored targets, that is going to be a possibility. If you want it to be so that it's better at taking out light infantry units, you have that available as well. They're really allowing you to have the tools at your disposal to have the playstyle that you desire. This also extends on over to your backpack and your character's armor. If you don't want to use the rocket launcher backpack for whatever reason, you can use a heal backpack. So if you're playing with a buddy who is ultra aggressive and takes a lot of damage, the heal backpack might be a better option. There's one, I don't even really know how to describe it, but it uses flames and fire propulsion to cause you to double jump and dash around the map for high mobility, and then its super ability allows you to have like a flame ring around you to light everything on fire. As I said, this game really leans into the absurdity of the franchise. Now, the caveat to all of this, and one thing I wasn't 100% sold on, and you may not be either, maybe I just needed to give it more time, is that because there are all of these RPG elements, that makes its way into the gameplay as well. And so if you have 3 weapons, and you're gonna have 3 primary weapons that you can use at any given time, so it does give you a lot of flexibility, but if you are using all weapons that are good at taking out armored targets, as soon as you go against something that isn't heavily armored, it's gonna take you significantly longer to be able to drop that unit. One thing I noticed is that if you had the direct counter, they would almost drop instantaneously, but if you didn't, you were heavily punished. And so it felt like you had to be really prepared for the engagement that you were about to go in, or just have a wide array of different weapons that were suited for different tasks. And so for some players, this might be really exciting news because it rewards you for being prepared. If you go up into a tower and survey the area with your camera, which not only spots for you, but also gives you the strengths and weaknesses of the enemies that you're going against, you can then use that information to change your attachments or use a particular weapon that would would be best suited for the enemies that you're about to go against, and you can come out on top. But if you're someone, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are like this, I'm also kind of in this category, where if I use, let's say, a sniper rifle and I go against a target and it doesn't one-shot them like it does in most every other FPS game that is a little bit more realistic, it might take you away from the experience. It's not a deal breaker, because as soon as you understand the mechanics and you realize that you're supposed to use certain weapons against certain targets, you're good to go, but it can be a little disjointing at first when you're using a sniper and it doesn't do the damage that you were expecting. And so you just need to know that going into Far Cry 6. Now, one thing I was really enjoying, though, is the way that they're infusing the story with the gameplay. One thing about past Far Cry games is that the story normally feels a little disjointed from everything else that you're doing. You just run around the map, and every so often a character might tell you to go take out a warehouse. Why do we need to take it out? Well, it's because it's in the ownership of the bad guy, and that's normally good enough. And I'm sure that happens in Far Cry 6. There's a lot of exploration going on here, but what I liked about it is that it felt much more organic. So, for instance, there is a moment where you need to take out 2 boats. You need to destroy them. Why do you need to take out the boats? Well, it's because they're a blockade. They're literally stopping you from getting to the main island. Another example is that you have a mission to take out an anti-air turret. Why do you need to take it out? Well, it's because if you didn't, you couldn't use the helicopter that you need to pick up the medicine that is needed, because in the previous mission, things went really badly and you need that medicine to be able to save these people. It really feels much more organic in the way that it weaves the story and the gameplay together, and I appreciated that. I only had about 4.5 hours to play, so just know going into this that I don't have the full picture here, and so maybe eventually it's going to devolve into just going from point A to point B, and there's really no connection in the story. But if they're able to maintain that throughout the entire game, that was one thing I really appreciated, and I'm hoping that that is the case. At the end of the day, though, this is Far Cry that we're talking about, and exploration is important. You're going to be finding different vehicles to unlock, different weapons, different variations and special weapons along the way. And then, to my surprise, there is also treasure hunting. Every so often, you might stumble across a secret path or a message or a treasure map that will lead you to some treasure. And what you guys are seeing right now is one of those locations. There was a puzzle involved. I had to figure out how to reach the very top, and then when I completed it, the puzzle itself wasn't anything mind-blowing. It was fairly simplistic, but it was fun enough. And then when I got to the top, I was rewarded with money and a little charm that I could put on my weapons. The charm doesn't have any stats. It's purely cosmetic, but it's just another little reward for doing these tasks around the island. Now, the final thing I have to mention before we take off for today is the companion system. Just like past Far Cry games, you will be able to choose from a selection of adorable or menacing companion pets that will assist you in battle. The one that I think everyone is going to pick first is the little puppy. This thing could not be any more adorable. Like, it hurts, it's so cute. But if you want something that maybe has some teeth to it, you can choose a crocodile. Every single one of them you'll be able to level up. They'll have different stats, they'll have different abilities. Like the crocodile, for example, is more of a tank. It's gonna be able to absorb more damage, and it can even revive itself if it gets taken out, if it has enough time to do so, and get back into the action. Every single one of these is going to have some sort of unique trait that will allow you to have a different playstyle. In general, though, I did enjoy my limited time playing Far Cry 6. Now, I have no idea what the full game is going to be like. Hopefully it's going to be well polished, but if it's anything like the demo, I was enjoying the story, the characters were interesting, and while I know that for some, the gameplay may not be to their liking because it's definitely not grounded in realism, it's leaning into those RPG elements, if you just embrace the absurdity of what they're trying to go for and just recognize it's just meant to be fun, there is a lot to enjoy, and I'm hopeful that this demo is a true representation of what we can get when the game finally does release. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's short little preview. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, this video was sponsored by Ubisoft. Everything you saw today is a work in progress, but Far Cry 6 will be launching on October 7th. It's gonna have co-op, a wide array of customization, and so if you would like to learn more about the game itself, there will be a link down below in the description. But yeah, guys, until next time, Have a good one and take it easy.